Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Um, I know you're probably all sick of seeing me in this beanie hat. And believe me, considering it's May 18th, I was hoping to have retired it for the season, but here we are. It is cold outside and I am wearing the hat. So, anyways, welcome, friends. Today we are talking about getting curious. So, curiosity, we'll talk about it. This is probably my most favorite life coaching skill. So, when I was trained in life coaching, we learned a bunch of different techniques and skills, but curiosity, really practicing curiosity, getting really skilled at being curious in our lives and with our clients was extremely important. So that's something that I want to talk about with you all today is curiosity and how to be curious and why to be curious. So let's get curious about curiosity. So before we do that, I want to take a step back and talk about what it means to be a coach versus a consultant versus a mentor, because this is really important in the work that we do as leaders with our teams and at our organization. So the difference between these is, as a consultant, you tell people what to do and you fix people's problems for them. So you hire a consultant to tell you what to do and to fix your problems. A mentor is different. A mentor tells you what they would do or what you maybe should do based on their experience. So you say things like, based on my experience, when this happened to me, this is what I did. So maybe that would work for you. That's a mentoring relationship. A coach is something completely different. A coach is not a consultant. A coach doesn't fix your problems for you. The coaching that I've been trained in, and I believe everyone should believe this when they're coaching individuals, is that you believe that the person that you are coaching, your employee, your teammate, they are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. They have all the answers within them. And you, as their coach, are there to ask questions, to pull things out of them, to help them connect the dots, to really collaborate and be on a team with them, as opposed to fixing their problems for them or telling them what they should do. So let me give you a little example. And I think it's hilarious that I am pulling a general contractor example. This is what came into my head, even though I am so not in the general contracting world. But a consultant, as a general contractor, would say, here is the blueprint. Here it is. I brought the materials. I'm going to go build this house for you. I will fix your problems. I got it. A mentor would say, I've built a house before. Let me tell you how I built mine. And then you would learn based on hearing about their experience. But a coach would show up and say, I have experience and expertise in building houses. I see the materials that you've already brought. I am going to ask questions, and together we will collaborate and we will create the blueprint of the house that is right for you. So that is an example of a consultant versus a mentor versus a coach. Ultimately, to be great leaders, I believe that we need to be a mix of a coach and a mentor. We do not want to just fix our team's problems for them. That is a consultant. When our team comes to us with an issue, or an employee comes to us with an issue, I have a lisp today. We don't just want to fix their problems for them. We do not want to consult with them, but we should share with them what we know based on our own experience, which is a mentor. And most importantly, we need to see them as naturally creative, resourceful, and whole humans. We need to collaborate with them, to ask them questions, to help them discover what the right answers are for them in that given situation. So we need to be coaches. And I'm not going to train you on how to be a life coach, but I am going to train you on one skill in particular, and that is on being curious. This is my favorite coaching skill. It is a fundamental skill to being a great life coach, and I truly believe it is a fundamental skill to being a great leader. Being trained in curiosity and practicing being curious on a daily basis has helped me to be such a better leader in my career. So yay. Also, curiosity, it is authentic and genuine curiosity is a powerful builder of relationships. So I've heard people in the past say, Leah, I can't get curious with my team because the trust isn't there. Or I haven't built a strong enough relationship, but actual genuine curiosity is something that builds that trust. It's something that builds that powerful relationship. So when you are genuinely curious about the person that you're with, it builds trust between you and that person. And the best leaders are genuinely curious with their employees and their teammates, and they are genuinely curious about what they think, curious about what they feel, their motivations, their demotivators, what they want. They're curious about what success means to them. And they're just curious about them as whole human beings. And we are all great leaders. So we need to be curious. So how do we do it? How do we be curious? The first thing I want you to do is I want you to shift your thinking. I want you to shift it from, I need to have all the answers and be the expert, because you do not. I want you to shift it to, I am so curious what this person or this team thinks and feels right now. So when you go into a one-on-one with your employee or with a coworker, don't go into it thinking, okay, I need to have all the answers. I need to be the expert here. I need to be really smart. You go into it as, I'm so curious what they want to talk about. And I'm so curious to learn how they're feeling. And I'm going to continue to ask them questions to figure out what they need and what they want. So the first thing you need to do to be curious is to shift your thinking. You do not need to have all the answers. Then the most important thing to do to be curious is ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Ask follow-up questions. Ask tons of questions. Ask them in one-on-ones, in team meetings, all the time. Ask questions. That is how you are curious. And some question pro tips for you. I want you to focus on asking what questions as often as possible. Why and how questions are not necessarily bad, but, and this is something that we learned in life coach training, they can feel inquisitive and like there's a right or wrong answer. So why are you doing it this way? How are you going to solve this problem? There's a right or wrong answer. People get defensive and feel like they have to prove something. Whereas what questions are expansive. When you're asked a what question, you don't feel like there's only one right or wrong answer. They're not meant to just have a yes or a no. So let's give some examples of what questions that you could ask with your team if you would like to. So for example, what's the last thing you really geeked out about? That is an expansive conversation. There is no one right or wrong answer. What is the best decision you've ever made? That is a fantastic question to ask people, because it really, when you're genuinely curious and you ask this question, you learn so much about the other person. What is a risk that you're happy you took? Love that question. That leads to such good conversation. What's one thing that makes you feel safe? We've talked about safety a ton in this new world that we're in. So what's one thing that makes you feel safe? And the reason why I add one thing in there sometimes is when things can feel overwhelming, like safety might feel like an overwhelming topic right now. So really just trying to narrow it down and help people get clear on an answer. And then we talked about stay interviews last week. Our favorite question in stay interviews: if 6 months from now you are no longer with the company, what would have caused you to leave? That is an expansive conversation starter. Some other examples of, I'm going to call meh questions versus curious questions that are super good. A meh question would be, is this an effective strategy for you? That's a yes or a no. And now I feel like I have to prove why or why not. A curious question would be, what makes this an effective strategy for you? This is a much more expansive question. A meh question, what training options are available? Curious question, what do you want to know that you don't know today? Now we're getting the convo going. A meh question, do you want to continue as an individual contributor or be a people manager? Curious question, what's important to you? It's curious questions. I get so excited about them. So asking questions. I used to think that being curious and asking questions was super intrusive. I thought it made me come off as insensitive. I thought it made me look incompetent. This is all before life coach training. False. By asking questions, by being curious with every single person that I meet, I cultivate trust. I build stronger relationships. It is how I survive and thrive at networking events. Networking events do not deplete my energy. They give me energy because I don't go there to talk about me. I go there to get curious and ask a bunch of people questions and learn a ton about people. And if you've ever met somebody who is genuinely curious in you, it is the most amazing thing in the world to have somebody who sits there and says, wow, what motivates you? Wow, how did that, they just keep asking questions. They want to know how you tick, all of that. It's the most incredible experience in the world. So tip for networking events when we start doing those again, just go in, be like, I'm going to get curious. I'm going to ask people questions. Also, it is how I make a living. I'm going to let you all peek behind the Oz curtain or whatever. That's how you make a living as a business coach, as a life coach. You get really good at being curious and asking questions and collaborating with people to figure out what's right for them and helping them make it happen. So, asking questions. It is not, you are not being intrusive. You are not being insensitive. You are not being incompetent. You are cultivating trust. You are building stronger relationships. And you can make a living out of it. So, some reflection questions that I want you to think about before our roundtable tomorrow is, I want you to think about, what does curiosity mean to you? How does it show up in your personal and professional life? What will you do to be more curious? What do you need to let go of to practice curiosity at work? And I want you to write down 2 curious questions you want to ask your team or teammate in the next week. So you can go back to this. Oh gosh, there we go. Almost there, almost there. Oh, I went too far. As you can tell, we don't edit these videos. But these kinds of curious questions, what are 2 that you want to put together for your team? So that is what I would like you to do for tomorrow. Please remember, this is an unprecedented time that we are in. You are all doing a great job. You're amazing. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I hope to not be wearing this hat because I hope that it is warmer out. See ya.